Hello everybody, it's Derek Freeze, and here's a video of 5 Lasko fans. All of these are 20-inch fans. One of them is a wind machine, and the other 4 are box fans. 2 of these you've seen, and 3 of them have not been seen on the channel. I think I may have shown the Ultra Force a few times in like the background of the video, or maybe I may have aimed the camera on it and showed it off once or twice. All of these need to be cleaned and serviced. These are, and then there's actually 2 other Lasko fans I'm leaving out. I have that other newer wind machine without that the front grill's busted off of in the garage that I'm using. Actually, it's running right now, circulating the air down there. And then there's also another 1970s green Lasko box fan over at my other house that's missing its back grill and it shorts out on medium speed. We'll get into that later. So anyway, I'll start off first, tell you which each one of these fans are, and then I'll independently demonstrate them. I'll first demonstrate the 3 I've not shown. We'll start left to right. First, we have this 2005 Lasko Weather Shield. This is one of the first box fans I owned. I think I got it right about the first year when my collection started blowing up. This actually is an interesting Lasko. I believe I'm the only collector that has one of these, but it's from 2005 for 2004. It has a tuna can motor. It has gray blades, and the typical Weather Shield logo. It has this type here, but it has a thick frame like a vintage box fan or an Air King, which is interesting. Actually, I have a frame for an Air King over here, and it's literally exactly the same, except it's just a lighter shade of gray. The next fan is this one. It's backwards because I don't know why. I probably put it here like this. It's in 1990 through 91. Actually, no, it could be in 89 through 1990. It's one of those 2 years. It has a plastic Marco motor, but it's a D-blade base model Lasko box fan, your normal one that you see everywhere. Well, at least in the 90s anyway. This is old enough to have the old school Lasko logo. So yeah, so I guess it predates 1990. Before they moved on to the logo like what the wind machine and the other Lasko have. So yeah. In the back here we have an avocado green Galaxy by Lasko box fan. I had one of these already that was branded as Paramount. I actually had another Paramount a while back, but I didn't have it for long before it malfunctioned. And the other one also has an issue. Sorry, I heard some suspicious noises outside, so I want to go investigate. But this one here has, I think this has a Marco motor in it. The other ones had Marco motors, and then the 1980s one I had that pretty much just stopped by itself one day. It also had a Marco motor. The first one I had was a 1980s model. I don't have it anymore. That was in my very early years of collecting. I think I made a video entitled a long time ago talking about some of the first fans I had when my collection was just getting started, when I started obtaining a lot of fans when I moved to Ohio. Next one's a wind machine. The wind machine I found in the basement of my friend's house after it flooded. We were able to clean it up, and he used it as a garage fan for about a year. And eventually he bought a brand new Cool Master box fan and gave it to me, so I have it now. I cleaned it up. It was filthy. It's now dirty again. And when I first moved into this garage, this was my primary garage fan. This was the main fan I used out in the garage, and it works really well. In the back we have a Lasko Ultra Force with thermostat. This is a fan I've wanted for a while because I think they're cool. This is one of 2 I've seen in person. These are very rare fans, mostly where I live. I've actually seen more of these in 70s Galaxy box fans. I've seen 4 of these, and I've only seen 2 of these. That shows you how slim they are. This one has the full-size Marco motor, not the newer version with the fin motor in it, which is nice. This is my first. Well, actually, no, that Cyclone I think had a full-size motor. I need to make a video of that, but I gave that one to my boss. There'll be a video of that at some point in time, maybe. But yeah, so yeah, there's all 3 of those. I think we'll start off first with the Ultra Force. There's going to be videos of these eventually after I service and clean all of them. So here's the Ultra Force. This, I will say, is one of the last good box fans, I will say. These have lots of power. When they went to the tuna can motors, some of the early ones with the tuna can motors were also pretty good. But I'm gonna be honest, this is easily probably the most powerful box fan I have, and I'm not trying to be rude and like trash talk of those two vintage box fans in the background like that Bursted and that Emerson. Both of those work perfectly fine. They're great fans, but that Bursted, it's way too heavy. It uses lots of energy. That Emerson on low speed, it's not as quiet as this thing. And I feel like the air movement on low speed is just still too intense to really use in the bedroom. This fan is a lot better with that, I've noticed. So, here's low speed. And it has a startup sound. This fan is awesome. This is one of my favorites in my collection, and I really wanted to find one of these pedal blade Laskas or the D-blade Laskas from this time period. I really didn't care which one. I was looking for a late 90s, early 2000s one. I also have a Galaxy 4743 from 2002. I guess that makes it 7th fan from these Galaxy Lasko box ones I still yet to show. Believe it or not, before about 2 months ago, I didn't have this many Galaxy Lasko box fans, or fans of this nature, and I'm being honest. I got this fan from a scrapper. I saved it. It was about to get scrapped. And then the other one with the D blades, that one, which I'll probably show next. No, actually, I'll show the vintage one because that one's a more interesting one too. And this fan's extremely powerful. I really like that fan for that reason, just because of how powerful it is. We'll do the vintage boy next, the 1970s Lasko. This one rattles a bit and it needs oil, so I don't want to run it much. Had a minor freak show with the Ultra Force. It took me about 3 minutes to actually get that one set up because it didn't want to sit nicely. I thought it was an issue with the mat or something. Here's low speed. Has a little like clicking noise. It just warped. I think the blade on the other one's a bit more balanced. The other one I have that has issues, so I may just swap them. This is the first one I've ever had that was actually mint and fully working, which is pretty nice actually. That's kind of unbelievable to me. I saw a brown one that was branded Brentwood once, and that was the only one I've ever seen working, and that one had issues as well. It seems like a lot of these older fans from this time period, they just get a bunch of issues that just don't run right. This is a 2-speed. This is one of the few 2-speed Laskas I have. My little Eastern Electric 3756 has a 2-speed plastic motor, but besides that, I've never seen another one. That 3756 is also one of the first fans I ever owned. That one's pretty special to me, and I may honestly, at some point in time, take this out, probably fix up this other Lasko here, and get my 2004 out, and then my 2021 373 out, and just compare all of them, just go down the lines, because all of these are basic box fans. I seem to have all the generations, I believe. There's obviously the 1960s ones that came before this with the metal blades, but I don't have one of those as of right now. Do I plan on getting one? If I can find one. It seems like I know the Jordan U got an oscillating model, and then I can't think of his username right now. I know he goes by Colin. He's Colin583. I probably just butchered that, but he got one also, just like the one that Jordan U had. No. This one I had to rewire the cord. I don't know if the cord was cut by a scrapper. I believe this one was in a basement flood. It was a bit dirtier. I cleaned off the surface dust. It still does run now. And I actually did use it out in the garage. We had a heat wave, and I needed a box fan to use. This cord's off the uncomfortable zone. Here's high. We're gonna do a change. Do high first. I think the past few fans, I've not had them in the center of the frame. Camera is also somewhat tilted. That's nice. I need to get one of those, like, I need to get a small torpedo level just to have on the top of the camera, and it looks like someone's here. Sorry about that, got distracted. Medium. Typically when the motor windings get dirty on these, they get pretty sensitive for some reason, and I've noticed that low and medium just kind of merge together somewhat. Typically after you clean up the motor windings on these Marco motors, the medium speed will actually have a bit of variation from the high speed. And I know that sounds pretty weird, but I think it has something to do with heat or air restriction and dust possibly slowing down the energy current in the motor. They don't seem to run hotter or anything, though, I've noticed. This fan here has a bit of that. Sometimes interesting, because sometimes there's ones that are somewhat clean, and just by barely cleaning the motor, it'll make a very drastic difference. And then yet there's ones that are very filthy like this, and you clean the motor and they make a bit of a difference, but you can really see it has a nice motor hum. Bearings on this one are pretty good. We'll do the water shield next. Get this plugged in here off camera. I don't know why I'm plugging it in. It's new enough to have the blue plug. So here's low speed. This one's a bit noisy, I will say. This also does put out a good bit of air. I may honestly consider making a comparison of video against this to the Ultra Force. It's medium. There used to be a little ring here around the control dial, but it broke for some reason. This fan may be in good condition, but I was using this as a beater fan. This one also needs to be cleaned. It has a good bit of dust on it. Dad has also brought this fan to work a few times to use. And then last we'll do the wind machine. I think this was on. This is, I still use this fan. This is my main garage fan, but I now use it up here. The weather shield was being used mostly. My dad was using it, and then was used in the basement a few times. It's low speed. Medium speed. It has a pretty large motor in it. Also in balance too. And at high speed, this does toss the air pretty good. The last two I didn't really have to show so much about. I've already shown these before, but just a nice little update just to kind of show them off, show you how they're running. The bearings on both of these have actually been doing really good. A lot of people like to talk trash off of Lasko's bearings, but all the ones I have here, they seem to be doing pretty good, with the exception of that 1970s one, but I'll give that one a break because of how old it is.